I already built a huge harbor, a huge airport, and also a very huge suburb. So what is left is obviously a huge spaceport. And as I'm really deep into SpaceX development of this big fucking rocket, or as it's called nowadays, the Starship project, I'm really interested into building a very detailed rocket station today. And this is exactly what we're going to do in today's video. So stick around and enjoy this wonderful detailed build. Little disclaimer at the very beginning of this video. I have used mods for the very first time because I just couldn't stand it. I just needed to. So in this build you're going to see the Anarchy mod and also the new it's not really a network mod, but the kind of line tool that is also out there already, and some other couple of little mods, like for example, for instant tree growth. I'm very happy that they exist, but it still is a little bit of a split topic for me, but more about that later. So if you're more into this topic, stick around. And there's a second disclaimer I need to make. I'm really into SpaceX and the development for many reasons, but there's one reason I'm not into it for, and this is Elon Musk himself. This guy is weird, and I do not support him personally, so please don't understand me here in the wrong way or just misunderstand me. It is solely for the project and the insane quality of the engineering masterpiece that they're doing over there, and also frankly for the environmental aspect, because even though it seems it's super bad, in the long run it is a super good thing, because with this project for the Starship, if that's going to work how they imagine it's going to be working, it will reduce the amount of launches required to bring the same mass into orbit. And this is the biggest win, because then the amount of negative emissions, or the basically bad emissions, is significantly reduced. So that is only true for so long as we don't make even more launches then, but at least then we have a higher mass capacity to orbit, which will at the end of the day make everything better in terms of emissions. And because of the fuel that they are using with liquid methane and liquid oxygen is definitely a better mixture than the RP7, RP1, whatever the old kind of fuel is, which is a lot worse when it comes to emissions. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's talk about this area over here. So I'm going for a bit of it's kind of a mixture of Cape Canaveral kind of thing, and also Boca Chica and Lab, this area down there in Texas, which I'm trying to do this with this little bit of half island vibes that is from the Texas location of SpaceX, but also it's a bit of a more modern, and maybe modern is the wrong word, it's basically a more evolved and finished area compared to the ever-evolving Starbase in Texas, which obviously is a little bit of a different approach. They have started as basically almost as a startup in some tents, and now they're growing their business over there quite significantly with high base and modern structures and stuff like that. But I wanted to capture both in here. And so we are doing quite a bit with the introduction of a lot of different things in here. So we have the launch pad located to the southern side of this little half island. We also do have a boat connection over here, which isn't really meant for passengers. It's really meant for the drone ships when they come back to the island. If you don't know, SpaceX mostly lands their boosters on drone ships, which is in the open sea, which has a lot of advantages over landing on land, because obviously they can bring the drones to a better location when it comes to the overall route that the booster can fly and where it can land, to not to go too much into detail, but the trajectory for these is a lot better because they have to use less fuel then, because if they need to make a boost back burn to the landing site, this is a longer distance to cover, and with those drone ships that can catch them in the sea effectively, they reduce the amount of fuel needed to bring the booster to orbit and the amount of fuel needed for the boost back burn back to Earth. So that's why this is always a little bit of a advantage. And so this is the idea of this little harbor. Then I wanted to make sure that this location over here is really directly to the sea. And as you can see, this is already where we are taking advantage of the Anarchy, because I'm literally building on this area of the space station, which we usually can't do, because obviously this is a set building, a finished building in the game. without really an option to build within it. But wonderfully, with the Anarchy mod, we are finally able to put some bunkers and stuff on top of this, and can make a lot more details, which we will do. There's going to be a lot of detailing involved in this build. It was a lot of fun building this, because it felt the first time ever in City Skylines 2 that I really could focus on one area for a long time. So I really spent over 4 hours on this space station area over here, compared to many cities I've built now where 4 hours is like almost the entire city, because there's really not that much I can do with detailing. And I didn't really go too much into the very nitpicky and small detailing in here, which has the reason that, you know, a space station, it doesn't really have that many cafes and stuff where you can go really into detailing some hedges and, you know, umbrellas, seating areas and stuff. You don't really have that over here. I focused more on the facilities, storages, and all these kind of things. I also wanted to make sure that we have a train connection that goes over to the other side. And also, maybe I should have said, this is all located in our Westwood project. So if you're wondering, I have changed the way I'm labeling my videos, and I'm trying to package my videos. So I'm not really sticking to the series anymore. You will always find this being a part of a series when you watch the video and when you look at the exact description. But as I want to attract new people, it always makes sense to not label it as a project that potentially people don't know. And so this is located in the Westwood. For those of you who have watched the Westwood series so far, this is the next episode in Westwood. I just figured I should say that. But in the future, my videos will be more or less like individual projects to attract more people, also new people, to make it easier for them to come in. But yeah, if you're new here and you haven't got an idea what this project is all about, make sure to check the playlist. I'm going to link this to the top right as a little info bubble now. Let me check the timer, 6 minutes 30. Maybe I'm not as stupid and forgot this already in 2 minutes, but 6:30 shall be the time where I put the bubble. And I also made like a road connection to the other side here that is then connected to the highway. I just wanted to ensure that, you know, we can have people move over. I'm going to show this to you in the real-time part. It works quite well. There is not really that huge traffic coming over because there is not really that huge amount of interesting stuff for them. I did put down a couple of industrial buildings. I did put down a couple of commercial buildings, but as you can see to the bottom left, our demand at the moment is not really into industry. It's really into residential areas, especially suburban residential areas, and I didn't really figure to make this in this episode. I'm gonna spend some more time in this in the future, and now with more detailing options I can finally do some really cool suburb ideas I had that weren't possible previously, but I can do it now. But yeah, as you can see, I'm finishing now a little bit the layout. So just to talk about this, we have a left-hand side area, and this is, as you can tell over here, where I'm starting to put some props down now. This area is going to be the build site, if you will. This is where like boosters and rockets and stuff like that will be built. And obviously the other side is the launch site. They are rather close to each other, I admit. So in case of a ROD, a rapid unscheduled disassembly, if you will, or an explosion. The problem will be that it might be a little bit too close. Usually you have a bit of a bigger distance between the launch facility and the assembly buildings, but the problem is kind of, well, it doesn't really matter in this case because the prefab building of City Skylines already has this ramp close to the facilities anyway. So in our specific case, we just take rockets that have already been proven to be reliable and won't explode on the launch pad. So that is what we do. I still do have a bit of a safety zone in between, which I'm going to show you later on. And we also will have a beach area, which is the first time ever we have a beach area in here. I'm very interested to see how this is going to look once it's finally done. But the more props I will find, it's at this point, it's really not that I don't have them props or so. I really don't know how they're labeled, so it's very hard to find them in the menu. Later on you will see me searching through the menu quite a bit. Funnily enough, some of the props already have a little icon, which you can use this. I'm going to show this in-game to you in the real-time part, but you can already search for certain things, like as in a menu. It's really weird to see that Paradox already had that in, so that is just like, they already had that in mind. It's such a pity that it wasn't in the base game, and I think this is one of those things which would have made the base game already be so much better without the help of either mods or the dev options, which both I think is not really the right thing to do. And here's me now, you know, finding my segue into talking about modding and the usage of mods at the moment. Obviously, I guess most of you guys have seen that mods are out there and people haven't been waiting for the mod launcher of Paradox. They have actually already done it themselves and put some on different websites where you can download them, and it's very easy to do that. There are already kind of programs that handle the mods for you, where you can download them from the mod launcher and then launch the game, and you've got the mods installed. You can see the Anakin mod on screen mostly all of the time. You can see the line mode, everything is in there. It is basically integrated as you know it from Cities Skylines already from the first game. Modders try to be as best as they can integrating the things in the UI of the game, so it is kind of a good way of doing it. However, and here's the little caveat that it comes with, and this is something I am very aware of, and I am very much saying to you now, this is that use them if you want to use them at your own risk, because they will be built not within the game, not on the foundation of the game. These are external mods that are not developed together with Paradox or with the community. They are developed by individuals. As for the community, they do a great job, and I don't want to take anything away from the greatness of these mods, but as they are external things, Paradox has no interest or no need to maintain those. So whenever there's an update for the game, these mods will break. Whenever there's a DLC coming or whatever, it may break. Whenever there's a small fix coming, it'll break. Whenever there's a performance update, they will break. So as great as they are to be used, the further the game will continue into the future, the more issues it's gonna get. And this is the sole reason why I haven't been in the Cities Skylines 1 YouTube game, if you will. See, I have been, and this is actually pretty strange. For those of you who know me for a while now, I grew my channel around Planet Coaster, then it was Planet Zoo. I had a lot of Jurassic World Evolution, Prehistoric Kingdom, Anno certain times, and Cities Skylines. I had a couple of attempts. Some of them even worked out quite well in terms of views and reception, but I stopped them, I don't know, after episode 5, 6, it was gone. And this wasn't because I didn't like it, it was because I couldn't. You know, I don't record them at one day. I do this over weeks. And then when over weeks you have it took me ages to finally have my mod assembly that I liked. And then a new DLC came out and everything was broken and some mods weren't supported anymore. The developers stopped developing because obviously they have their own life. So this is going to be the same if it's running like this. So I really hope that the Paradox launcher is a bit of a different story, that they guarantee mods that are in the launcher will be supported for a longer time and the DLCs won't break them. This is my great hope for the mod launcher and why I think the mod launcher is the right way to do, despite all the caveats that it brings, you know, the freedom of how they're placed in the Steam Workshop. I know all of that, but my experience of Cities Skylines 1 told me that over a longer time period, and this is what Cities Skylines 2 is meant for, a game that is glowing and growing and becoming brilliant in the long term. And so I'm not really seeing this development with a positive view at the moment, because as much as I love these mods, and for the moment they're totally okay, I really do hope that it's all shifting towards the Paradox launcher in the future, that then guarantees with every update and so on, you can just play on with your mods that you loved. Okay, now let's take the last couple of minutes of the time lapse to really talk about my area over here. You can see I have used a lot of these, industrial zone oil tanks and also the silos and stuff like that, because this is most likely how it looks on these tank farms for huge rockets as well. You know, this is where the liquid methane and the liquid oxygen and all the fuel is stored in. This is where the cooling water for the deluge system is stored in. And I wanted to really achieve something that looks really nice, you know, where we have a lot of these storage systems in place. I wanted to make sure that we have a bit of a beach area next to it, because usually these areas are a little bit more barren and there's not so much green area. I would have loved to have some more dried grass, but we don't really have a texture for dry grass at this point, so I needed to try to make a lot, you know, as much as I can with a lot of concrete and plaster and making sure everything is looking very much bulldozed in a way, because, you know, these areas with a lot of there is, you know, a lot of heavy vehicle, a lot of heavy transport vehicles. There's a lot of yeah, stuff that destroys the nature around. Usually in these areas, you don't really have nature going crazy because nature is like, what the heck is going on? So I also made this huge sand pit here on the other side, which I figure would have been the area where they took a lot of, soil to level up the rest. And also we have a lot of retaining walls around the launch facility. If you've seen that, these retaining walls are also very important when it comes to dust and all the other gases that are created once a launch is happening. To be honest, I like the VFX of Paradox that they did in here, but they're like way too small. Like an actual launch of a orbit ready rocket is creating a crazy plume of dust and exhaust. So I would have loved this to be a lot bigger than what we see in game. That would be lovely to see. And this is also why I made this giant kind of sand pit here on the other side. That could be the area where they actually took all the sand and soil that was required to build a level area and all the retaining walls on the other side. So I'm quite happy with how that turned out, and I tried to kind of embed that now into the area around. And maybe this is, I don't know what this could be in the future. Maybe people can use that as like a sand track for some trucks or so, what the Americans even do. And then I found finally some boulders and rocks in the menu to throw some rocks down and so on, just to make that all look a bit more nice and just try to blend in things nicely. This is potentially the biggest issue I still have at this point, really is blending textures together. I really am a little bit in a struggle to do that, but yeah. So in a couple of seconds, I'm going to show you this whole thing in game. I really hope you enjoyed the time lapse and the voiceover so far. So these last couple of seconds is just putting down a couple of details, but I'm going to show you all the details now in the real-time part. So let's move over in 3, 2, 1. And launch! Off we go here with our Chirp X rocket, which is totally not a rip-off of the Falcon Heavy. There it goes up into the sky. Boom! This is our launch. Just starting our real-time part with the launch. Let's zoom out of our launch facility over here and show you around actually. There we go. This is our area while the rocket is just going strong up there. This is the entire launch complex, as you can see. And this time around, I'm very happy with the level of detail over here while the ship is just arriving. But yeah, so as I said, it's not overly overdone. I wanted to keep it relatively spare because, in this area there is mostly there is not really that much going on. You don't really want to live here. So we've got like a couple of facilities over here, nothing too crazy. We've got like a train station for people to ride. I mean, technically I should do a little connection here to this area, even though, there is a connection. We should definitely, kind of a pedestrian path if necessary. Some little detail to be fixing it and finishing it up. But other than that, we already have this is like the huge assembly area. I would have loved to have a bit of a higher building, but I couldn't really find one. Like, obviously some of the buildings, like the normal, houses and residential, they are quite high and tall, but I really would have loved to have something more tall in terms of a facility where they can build it. We obviously have like a couple of storages. We've got a crane over here where they could put that in, and then if we go over, we have like this train system, which I think could also be used to propel the vehicles over. Imagine putting the vehicle like over here that goes to this point over here, and then you can just propel it all the way over here to this point, and then this is where they all load them off. Or actually go over here and take that road down here to the launch site, or maybe bring it over into this assembly building. We do have a bit of a, as I said, this is like for the cooling or water deluge system. Could be over here. We have another security wall, retaining wall. We have like also vehicles going over here. I actually wonder where they go. What's the target of this truck, by the way? I've seen a couple of trucks moving over, and funnily enough, it did it right when there was a launch and it was covered in all the plume. Yeah, a couple of clipping issues obviously we have over here, even though we could get rid of the fence, to be honest. But let's see where this is going. I'm not really sure where this thing is going. Oh, actually, look at that. It's actually going into the bunker over here. That's very interesting. Bring some goods down there into the bunker section. So yeah, that's just like a security bunker from over here. They could also do some launch checkups and stuff like that. So this is where it is. And then over here we have like another tank farm, which this could be for the methane stuff. And we've got some other, again, they have quite a huge stuff in here. We have actually a water facility that is required. Actually, can we? Let's go out of this mode for a second. And we could also, well, we can't really put them in here. I mean, you could use the anarchy now to put it anywhere. So yeah, I can't really drag it anywhere else than here. Would have been clever to use these. How are they called? They are called the extra processing unit. Maybe we can find that in here. I wanted to show you this anyway. So if you hit pause 1 on your keyboard, you're greeted with this menu, and in here you can find, so let's say extra, what was that called again? I'm so stupid. Let me just check that again. It is the extra processing unit. Extra processing, there you go. There you go. Now we can take this, but actually, oh, we are still in the building. But if we have it now, we have it free, and we can put it wherever we want. So we could actually have this somewhere in between here, but I really don't find the spot. Maybe we can put it here. I think this is kind of a good spot. Let's put that one here. That's a good spot for it. And it's a tiny bit to the ground. Oh, it's drowning because it's too... Why is it so low, though? But I think this is still a good spot where we have the water treatment going next to there. And this is how you can do this. We could also go and see if we can find some umbrellas, which is not the case, but we can have some chairs. You know, you can see hanging chair, deck chair, oops. And then if we go here, we could put some of them to the beach. I mean, you wouldn't love to go here, but just to show you some, there's like a couple of these things, and then you could also go into, for example, a simple curve and also make random rotation, and then we can have this, and we can also reduce the increments quite a bit so that they're all standing over here on the beach, whatever. And then we can also have some random chairs, but we could also have, what's the difference between those? Oh, look at that, we're having different ones here too. Yeah, just a couple of those, you know, chair random. Yeah, okay, some random chairs just in general, but you can also still go back to the single placement mode, and then you can also rotate them as you're used to. There are some commercial stuff in here. Yeah, there are most likely these things. Do we have something like an awning or so? A bear spawner, a car location spawner, cattle animal spawner, cow spawner, eagle spawner, horse spawner. Look at that. Restricted spawn station. Yeah, really not that. I was also looking for like a stand, but I'm not sure. This is like an A stand. Is this little tiny thing over here? These stands over here, or is it called pad maybe? Air pad. Okay, well, helipad. I wanted to have like a little hospital area pad. Can drink it over here. Some of these are unfortunate. There you go. This is like a helipad 1, helipad 2, 3. Small, medium. This is where they actually land, I guess. See, I wanted to have like a pad over here, for example, where technically the rockets would be put on, but we don't really have rocket stands. I'm still putting them here as where they could put the rockets, and then we could make the same on this side, and this is maybe where they put the rocket stand for testing reasons, I guess. But it's a little bit of a pity that it doesn't really have these things I wanted. I really don't know. Fire station, helipad, pedal bike. Yeah, it's really not what I wanted. Also, I don't know. I really have no idea what it could be called. Like, I would really need to go through all the different menus to find it. But yeah, I'm very, very happy with how this entire area turned out to be looking. Let's actually get rid of the UI for a second and just have a look around. Look, this is our launch area. At the moment, there's no rocket on here, but you can really feel like how this would work. And I really like how the nature ties in, and then with this little piece of land over here. I really would love to make like a huge beach on the other side. I think, you know what, guys, we just do that, okay? For the second, we are just going to do this because honestly, why not? Oh, I can't open the menu. Okay, anyways, sometimes there's like a little problem to reopen the menu, and if that's not working, I would need to restart the game. So I'm not doing this, whatever. So I'm gonna make this area here on the other side a bit more of sandy beach. As if you ask yourself what this is, by the way, this is just the oil surface painting. Not sure why this is sand, but this is a very nice looking beach, and this is the oiled surface painter. So if you're using the mod yourself, this is what you need to know for like proper beaches, because sand actually looks a lot like sand, a lot too much like sand, because it's way too yellow in my opinion, and this color over here ties in a lot more nicely to the area. But yeah, as I said, this is the assembly area. This is the launch area with all the different facilities required to launch the vehicle. vehicles, and in my opinion, this looks very nice and very cool. I would have loved to be able to just get the ramp over here, the Space Center, but there is really not the ramp. I couldn't find the ramp as a single piece, so I could have made this a bit nicer, but I just didn't find it. The only thing I found was the whole complex. So yeah, you can also, the fun bit is you can go with deleting options. You have different options here with the tool, and I'm not even sure if I can, this is by the way what I said, we can actually get rid of some of the fences. This is the ground level. There you go. We could for example get rid of this bit over here. Not sure what I deleted. I think I deleted the ground instead of the fence. Okay, whatever. That was just for testing reasons. I better not save this file. Otherwise, this is going to crash. But yeah, so this is our space station in Westwood. Just as for a last overview, this is Westwood area so far. It's quite huge by now. And there is not really that much I can still buy. I mean, there is still some land to buy, but really not that much left. So I'm maybe looking into some mods that unlock even more, but for the moment being, the only thing I can do is just unlock these areas, and there's really not that much land left. But I guess we have to grow the city to this lower hand side to reach actually some dope sizes of a city. At the moment, like 90,000 is really not that much for the size, for the land mass we've already covered. So I'm really looking forward to how this is going to look once we are actually having a decent amount of people living in here. I mean, I just put down this area, which is rather growing at the moment. So yeah, also my Christmas special. But yeah, so that's that. I really hope you guys enjoyed this so far, and would love to see you in another episode of City Skylines. And again, if you want to see this series, make sure to click the link on the top right now. There is the start of the series, so you can check it all out. And yeah, until the next one, have a good time. Thank you so much for the support, and I see you in the next video. Goodbye.